Quilty is brought to you by
Baby Lock. Baby Lock sewing and long arm machines. From piecing to long arming for the love of sewing. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread. Perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Dear Stella. A unique fabric brand with modern style. Fairfield. Together, we can make beautiful things. Hovels Sewing. Cut to the point with Hovels Sewing. Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics. Northcott. Cottons that feel like silk. Omnigrid. Providing quilters with specialty rulers and accessories for over 30 years. Thanks for watching Quilty. Thanks for tuning in today. I am here with Niki Meiners. Niki, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
Niki, tell me about what you do for a living. You do a lot of cool things.
I like to wear a lot of different hats.
Yeah.
I'm a blogger for myself. I manage the social media for Fairfield, and I work for a lot of different magazines as a freelance designer.
They manufacture magazines,
They
right?
do. So I wear a lot of hats.
And you were telling me that your specialty is sewing projects, more than quilts, but you've gotten more into understanding the world of quilts and things. And I have to say, a lot of people come to quilting with a sewing background, and they're doing bags, and they're doing things like we have to show today,
I have a very short attention span, and I need to do something that I can start on a Friday, have done on a Sunday, and it's ready for action.
And these are some things that we have here for examples of that. I love how you said, I don't really like to do buttons, so
Hook and loop tape.
we call that a stunt button. That's what they call it. And this is your iPad case, right? Or your tablet?
I have 2 children, and we're very active, and I want to protect our technology because they're not the most gentle.
Right.
So each kid has their own. This is my daughter's set.
Cool.
For technology, and this is my laptop that she's only allowed to use it if it's in her color.
Well, and the reason we're showing these is because we're going to talk about batting today, but also I just want to let you know that we don't have, these exact things are not patterns that we have on Quilty, but we have iPad cases, we have all kinds of small projects, so just go to heyquilty.com or fonsandporter.com and you'll find tons of great small projects that came from Quilty magazine. Just wanted to let you know because people will email and say, I love your case, I want to make it.
And if you really want, I can write it up and
maybe we could do it. Put it up on the website.
Yeah, give
check
it to
back,
you.
Check back, and we'll see.
I make my own patterns.
Cool. Cool. So, and then you have this too, and again, we're going to get to batting because, in fact, why don't you talk about batting on this project?
Okay, this particular project is using a technique called quilt as you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, this technique is what got me into quilting because I like to sew, and I wasn't ready to attempt a full-size quilt.
It's scary.
It
can be
large. And like I said, I like working on short, quick things. So I started doing a lot of research on what can I do to make sewing more efficient and quicker and something I can stop and start if I need to.
Great.
And that's actually where Fusible comes into place.
Cool.
It is a blended fusible batting. It has adhesive on one side. And what you do is I like working with pre-cuts because they're quick, they're efficient, they come pre-thought out. I can pick it up on a Friday and be done by a Sunday. So what you do with the quilt as you go is buy a pre-cut for whatever you're looking for.
And this one, wha-bam! This one is a great Northcott, their Colorworks things. And what we mean by pre-cuts, if this is the first episode of Quilty you've ever seen, these are pre-cut pieces of fabric that, I'm just going to pull one out here, 2.5-inch wide strips, okay? So they've cut all the fabric for you. These are obviously fabulous rainbow colors. So, Niki, what you're saying is you don't have to cut anything. You just start using these strips with your Fusible and you get going. So anyway, continue,
Exactly.
please.
Literally, you take your first piece of material, you iron it where you want it, and then you sew it on. You take...
Put this right here. So can you say that again for me?
How I do it is I started with this blue piece right here.
Okay.
Ironed it in place.
On the Fusible.
On the Fusible. Just iron it right in place.
With the glue side up.
Glue side up. And what's nice about this is you don't have to use spray basting and get the basting everywhere. It's already on it.
Yeah.
And it's basting, I think, is so important with quilting.
Absolutely. You have
because
to do
the
that.
prep work is really what will make the difference in a good quilt versus a messy, sloppy quilted piece.
Exactly, and we've talked many times on Quilty about basting, and in case that you're new to this, basting is when you have a quilt sandwich. You have the backing, the batting, Fairfield fabulous batting, in so many different choices, and then you have your pretty quilt top. And to hook those layers together, to keep them together before you quilt them, you can do safety pins, you can do hand basting, you can do spray basting, or with this, you just don't really do it because it does it for you.
Right.
Basically.
So you lay your first piece down, you iron it on, you add your second piece, and you just keep going. So
Right.
this is my second piece at the end of a pre-cut.
Right.
So you literally just lay it on upside down,
Uh-huh.
sew it on the back side, and then iron it down, and you're ready for your next one.
Right. So
Does that
it's-
make sense?
Yes, it's quilt as you go. You put one strip down at a time, so stitch it down and keep going.
Yeah,
As
and you just keep layering as you go.
Right.
And for me, the pre-cuts, I work in usually 22 by 22 squares.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the size I like to work with. And I'll make a bunch of them one night. And then I figure
Yeah.
out my project after I see them together.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of a backwards way of working. I know a lot of people have the ability to sketch. But for me, I kind of think as I go. So I'm quilting and thinking as I'm doing it. And then I have a pre-done piece of quilted fabric and I turn it into whatever I want.
like this. You know, one of the things I love doing in this show, and it's such a pleasure to be the host of this show, because quilters come on, or crafters come on, and I get to think about how to approach a project in a totally different way. I never thought about creating, a panel or creating blocks or something and just sort of having them ready to go when I'm ready, And so you created this from something
From
just like that.
one of these.
Way cool. Now, I was going to ask you one other thing about...
The nice thing with
Yeah.
the quilting as you go,
Yeah.
this is one piece, cut it in parts,
Yeah.
and then you can start making quilt blocks by how you cut the larger panel.
Yep.
So here I have stripes on the inside and then vertical stripes the other way.
see.
So, but it was all done from this as a base.
What's your blog, Nikki?
365daysofcrafts.com.
That's plural, 365daysofcrafts.com. So, in case we can't get this on the Quilty website, visit Nikki's website and for all kinds of tutorials and patterns and
Yeah.
things.
Oh, more of them are on the Fairfield website.
Oh, yeah, that's even better to go to today because we're loving Fairfield so much. That was one thing I was going to tell you is if you haven't done Quilt As You Go, we did a great episode on Quilty about how to do a Quilt As You Go project. So
That
check
was
it out.
one of my resources.
Hey, cool. It was a good episode, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
So wonderful. Well, we've learned a little bit about batting for projects. What kind of batting did you use here, by the way?
This I used Fusiboo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of loft and things.
And a
This is
great
the
tip with Fusiboo is normally batting, if you pull it out of the bag and it's wrinkled, you throw it in the dryer.
Yes.
Don't do that with this. It will melt.
Very
Speaking
good.
from experience.
Yes. Did it ruin your dryer?
No, I just threw another piece in and it gathered it all up.
Okay, good.
But
good.
what you want to do is just take a mister or fine spray bottle of
Yeah,
water
yeah.
and just add it on it and all the wrinkles come out.
Awesome.
So you're ready to go.
One last question for fusible batting. And thank you for coming on the show. Wow. Okay, I learned so much. And I wonder about your iron, if you ever touch it. Just a dryer sheet usually cleans that off? Or would you use an applique pressing sheet maybe if you're going to?
Either way,
Yeah.
I'm old school and I use aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil to clean your iron or to put down on top of your project before?
Both.
Both. I've never heard of that. So aluminum foil on the project or to clean your iron, dryer sheet will clean your iron, or use an applique pressing sheet on your thing before you touch it with the iron so the goo doesn't get on your iron. Wow. Awesome. Nikki, thanks. Cool. Fairfield, thank you. And try this. There's really cool products coming out all the time. So play. Thank you. Bye.
Quilty is brought to you by
Baby Lock. Baby Lock sewing and long arm machines. From piecing to long arming for the love of sewing. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread. Perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Dear Stella. A unique fabric brand with modern style. Fairfield. Together, we can make beautiful things. Hovels Sewing. Cut to the point with Hovels Sewing. Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics. Northcott. Cottons that feel like silk. Omnigrid. Providing quilters with specialty rulers and accessories for over 30 years.